Tell me, what does it look like in heaven? Is it peaceful? Is it free like they say? Does the sun shine bright forever? Have your fears and your pain gone away? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything good is missing since you left. And here on earth everything's different. There's an emptiness. Oh, I hope you're dancing in the sky, and I hope you're singing in the angels' choir, and I hope the angels know what they have. I bet it's so nice up in heaven since you arrived. So tell me, what do you do up in heaven? Are your days filled with love and light? Is there music? Is there art and invention? Tell me, are you happy? Are you more alive? 'Cause here on earth.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyson Lancaster, and I have the distinct honor of leading today's celebration of Eleanor Parr's life. On behalf of Eleanor's family, I want to thank you for being here today. Your presence is a reflection of the many relationships that surrounded Ellie through her 82 years, and I know it means a great deal to her family to have you here. Where to begin? A question that I've been pondering for almost a week now. How do you honor someone who gave so selflessly to her husband, to her family, to her friends, to her students, to her colleagues, and to her community? So I started looking at the music selections for today. It seems to be a pattern that I'm developing. And throughout all of the beautiful song choices, I landed on the recessional song for this service. And I'm only going to give away the end at the start, so buckle up. Nothing is more appropriate than settling on and admiring the fields of gold during harvest. And you'll hear that song later during the recessional, but the imagery of walking through fields, changing seasons, a setting sun are all natural metaphors for life itself. We have our seasons, and we share them with the people we love. And over a lifetime, some seasons bring exactly what we hope for, while others test our resilience. There are storms to weather, dry stretches to endure, times of planting without knowing exactly what will grow, and seasons when we finally get to stand back and appreciate what has come from all of that care. And when you finally stand back and look across a field of gold, you realize that it was never a result of just one good day, or even one good season. It's shaped over time through resilience, care, and the help of those around us. Those are the qualities of Ellie that I've heard about and witnessed over and over again through her many roles she held in our community. I recognize that I only witnessed just a sliver of those years Ellie spent making her mark here, but I stand here with gratitude, like many of you, for the place so many of us call home, knowing that Dewberry is a better community because of the work and dedication that she poured into it. Today, as we look across all those seasons together, we get to see just how much grew because she was here. I'd like to share with you some words that I collected from her colleagues at Dewberry School, past and present. One colleague said, "When I think back on the years I knew and worked with Eleanor, what stands out in my mind is the big smile she wore on her face and the air of positivity that seemed to surround her. The genuine concern she had for others is what stood out above all." Anytime I asked her to sub, she would always try her best to make it work somehow. She would even change her plans to be able to come in. She was amazing and meticulous about making sure everything that was in your plans for the day was complete. Another colleague sent a lot of laughter in her text and said, well, during COVID, I often heard Dallin say, "I'm on, Grandma." And so I was, at that time, I was vice principal, and I was so impressed to watch her log onto a computer. I think she was 78 at the time. I tried to do the math. Log onto a computer, get onto the Google Meet, and command that classroom, had every single kid in there with her camera on, something I couldn't do, and made sure that she had it commanded just as well as she did her regular classroom. And the last one, I think it was extra special when Mrs. Parr came into the school, because Grandma Ellie had a chance to see her grandkids too. And in lots of ways, Ellie was a grandma to so many in the school. She had so many lessons inside and outside of the classroom to teach. There were many more comments that I got, and I'll make sure they find their way to Ellie's family. But as I read through them, the same things appeared again and again. Ellie was respected. She was loved. She showed up. She could walk into a classroom without a sub-plan and know exactly what needed to be done. And above all, she just genuinely loved the kids. I'd like to share a poem that I feel needs no further explanation, and I know I share this one often, but I just kept coming back to it. It's called The Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted first the date of the birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between the years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent life on earth, and now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So I think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that still can be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. Be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read and your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? I always think that's appropriate to lead into the eulogy because I think Ellie would be proud of how she spent her dash. I'd like to ask up Twyla Moore and Terry Bilecki to share Eleanor's eulogy.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are both sad to be standing here to say goodbye to our auntie, and we're going to try to get through it without crying. But we're also truly honored to be asked to share her life in words with you all today. We are Terry Bilecki, and I'm Twyla Moore, her nieces. Our mom was her sister, Irene. Today, as we gather to remember Auntie Eleanor, I've been thinking about all the different names she carried throughout her life. She was Eleanor to some, Ellie to others, Mom to two, Grandma and great-grandma to her precious grandchildren, sister, auntie to some of us, and a friend to many. But no matter what you called her, she was someone you could count on.
Auntie Eleanor was born to Les and Florrie Harwood in the Harlan district, one of 6 children alongside Shirley, Jean, Larry, Irene, and Patsy. From the very beginning, she was part of a family that would remain at the center of her life. As we look at the legacy that Eleanor's parents have left, I am sometimes left to think that Grandma and Grandpa Harwood could teach a masterclass in how to raise loud, strong-willed, hardworking, community-minded, competitive, and loving humans as their children have left and continue to leave that mark on this world. Auntie Eleanor was determined as a young woman to go out and leave her mark. She graduated high school in Frenchman Butte, and even getting that education was not necessarily easy. She had to leave home and live with friends' families so that she could attend high school. She went on to Teachers College in Saskatoon, and her boys remember her telling them that she took summer classes so that she could continue working toward her and eventually earning her degree through the University of Alberta. Who knows if teaching would have been her chosen career if she was coming through the system now. She felt like back then females did not have many options, and an airline hostess was out for her as she was short and wore glasses. If she could have picked anything, mechanics would have been her choice. Education and hard work were simply part of who she was. She taught in Hillmont, Marshall, at the OB Colony, Kitscotty, Tullabee Lake, Dewberry, Frog Lake, and Heinsberg. And when she officially retired, she wasn't ready to stop. She began substitute teaching and continued almost full-time until she was 78. During COVID and online learning, there she was, 76 years old, set up on a computer and ready to teach from home before her much younger colleagues had their head wrapped around how they were going to go about it.
That says a lot about Auntie Eleanor. She was not someone who was very good at sitting still. She was small but mighty and usually wearing turquoise or blue. If she didn't know how to do something, she'd figure it out. If she still couldn't do it, she'd find someone who could. She just made things happen, and she was a force to be reckoned with. Alan tells a story of her 68th birthday. She was given a .410 shotgun. We all know the saying about killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, what about taking out 3 pigeons with 1 shot? She could teach all day, come home, cook a meal, drive the combine, stop to feed everyone, go back into the field, and then go to bed so she could start all over again the next day. Listening to the stories about her life, I honestly don't know how she did it. She was tireless. She complained very little, and if she did complain, you listened, because there was probably a very good reason. And when it came to herself, she didn't complain at all, and we saw that in the last few months.
Her family was the absolute light of her life. She went to the Lee Park Rodeo with a friend who just happened to be the rodeo princess and met a boy named Lynn. He had a bit of a shine for the princess, and then he saw her and everything changed. They had a visit down at the river. Her ride left her stranded, and he offered her a ride home. Let the dating commence. Lynn went to work up north. They wrote letters back and forth, a breakup, and then they found each other again at a ball game, and the rest is history. She married the love of her life, Lynn Parr, on July 9th, 1966, and together they had their precious boys, Alan and Art. Her love for Lynn and her boys grew into a love that extended through her grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and then out into the whole family. When Lynn was alive, they were never that far apart and just loved traveling around together and laughing. A story was told about one day at Arts. They were arguing about something back and forth, and as they were leaving, Uncle Lynn called her a mutthead. Well, the arguing stopped, and the laughing started for everyone. She didn't love the nickname that the grandkids kept around for a while, but the stories always made them all laugh. If you wrote a book about their partnership, I would think it would have to be called Love, Laughter, and My Friend, as that is what you think of when you think of the two of them together. You never had to wonder how much she loved her boys and their families. You just had to look at her to see her light up, and she would tell you all about everything they were all doing. She loved how much they included her in their lives and made her feel just as special as she made them feel. The boys knew they could go to her for anything, then take it to Dad, as she would let them know how she felt and then help them deliver the news, good or bad, to Dad. In true Ellie style, even when her love, Lynn, passed away, she made sure everything was taken care of so the boys could grieve their dad. She just did. She was not going to ask for something she could do herself.
She showed up for her people. Rain or shine, she was there. Every performance for every grandchild, every graduation for nieces and nephews, and there was a lot, she was there. Patsy will miss those birthday and anniversary phone calls, as will so many of us. Auntie was often the first one up in the morning to make that call. She just knew that these little things mattered. She knew how to make people feel seen, and that might be one of the greatest things about her. She was given a journal once with questions to answer about her life, and going through it recently was amazing. She had written that her definition of love was true and honest friendship. And I don't think she could have described herself any better, because out of all the titles she carried through her life, I think friend might have been one of the things she embodied the most. She was an amazing woman to have in your corner. If you needed her, she was there. She was also someone who knew how to tell you the truth. She led with kindness and commitment, but she would tell it like it was, and she didn't much like taking no for an answer. If she thought something could be done, then the attitude was simply, let's get it done.
There was always room for one more at Auntie Eleanor's table. She might be cooking for 5, and then 5 more people would show up. Somehow, nobody knows exactly where that extra food came from, but suddenly there was enough for everyone, and everyone went home full. She was a real food pusher. She didn't like waste. She didn't like unnecessary spending. She was thrifty, practical, and incredibly resourceful. If something was thrown out and she found it, there was a good chance she would keep it and turn it into something useful. Her philosophy was simple. If it needs to be spent, spend it. But if you can save it, save it. Even when thinking about this service, she told the boys, don't spend a lot of money. That sounds exactly like her. She could fix almost anything, and if she couldn't, she would figure something out. Laramie didn't want to wear hockey pants, so Grandma Ellie turned the hockey pants into a hockey skirt, so Laramie would give hockey a try. Why? Because she could. She was also a woman who loved to have fun in her own way, and importantly, in her own time. She didn't love shooters. She said she preferred just to sip on them. This drove Art nuts because she went so slowly. But that was Auntie Eleanor. She got to do the things in her own time. She loved baseball. Her brother Larry had quite the throw, and Auntie Eleanor and my mom would talk about catching for him while he practiced and ended up with very sore hands. It made them into pretty good ball players themselves. She loved camping, and she told Taylor that one of her best purchases was their 1979 Vanguard camper. I would agree that it was a pretty good purchase because our parents then bought its twin, and we spent many summers together, laughing and exploring. The lake with her boys, fishing with her parents, exploring with Lynn. They went everywhere. And then there was the food. Chinese food was her favorite, without a doubt. But for the grandkids and kids, there are foods that will forever be their mom and their grandma. Her buns, her cabbage rolls, her ginger snaps, and her goose breast. Not just the grandkids, but the community will miss her popcorn balls at Halloween. Art had friends texting him as adults to ask if she would give them one if they stopped, or did they have to be dressed up? Art knew she would love the visit, no costume required. Those recipes will probably continue to appear around family tables for years to come.
These are all the memories that become precious. The camping trips, the meals, the stories, the visits. They are the memories we now hold dear and realize she was teaching us how important it was to show up and the values we should live by. She also gave so much of herself to her community. For many years, she volunteered with the Ag Society in the Dewberry community. She was involved with the Chuck Wagon Race Committee, and if there was anything happening around the arena, she was there. She didn't just belong to a community, she contributed to it, and she made it better. And that is really the thread that runs through her entire life. She showed up. She showed up for her husband, she showed up for her boys, she showed up for her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and she showed up to her siblings, nieces, nephews, and friends. She showed up for her community. She worked hard to make the lives of the people around her better, and she did it without needing recognition. She was simply there.
There's something else that feels very fitting about Auntie Eleanor. She kept diaries. If you wanted to know what the weather was like on a particular day, or what was happening on any given day over the last 60 plus years, there was a pretty good chance she could tell you, or find it in one of her diaries in her drawer. She recorded life. And now, in a way, we are doing the same thing for her. We are recording who she was. We are remembering the stories. We are holding on to the things she taught us. And perhaps the most important lesson she gave us was to simply show up for your people. It sounds so simple, but Auntie Eleanor lived it every single day. She showed us that love isn't always a grand gesture. Sometimes it is a phone call early in the morning. It is making room at the dinner table. It is driving to the graduation. It's standing in the arena. It's feeding everyone before you feed yourself. It's turning hockey pants into a hockey skirt. It's fixing something instead of throwing it away. It's making one more meal. It's being there. That was her way of loving people.
And so, as we mourn the loss of her presence, I think we also have to recognize just how much she has left behind. Her footprints are very big. Her legacy is going to live for a very long time through her family and through her community. She gave us memories, traditions, recipes, stories, and most importantly, the example of what it means to be there for the people you love. She was a true matriarch of this family. She held people together. She made sure people were fed. She made sure people were remembered. And she made sure people felt seen. And she made sure things got done. I know how deeply she will be missed. But when I think about that, I also have to find comfort in imagining where she is now. We both knew this one was going to be tough. I imagine her finding Uncle Lynn again. And I can only imagine the hug and the smile and the laughter as they were reunited. And I imagine that the visiting is still in full swing as she sits at a table with her brother Larry and her sister Irene, and with her mom and dad, catching up on everything that's happened since they were last together, with many friends stopping in to say hi and saying welcome home and grabbing a snack. I imagine that she's happy there. And I think after a lifetime of looking after everyone else, it's okay for us to imagine that she's finally being looked after too, surrounded by her loved ones and peeking in on us every now and again to just check and make sure that we're continuing her work. Auntie Eleanor, you were deeply loved here. You were our auntie, our Ellie, our mom, our sister, our friend, our teacher, our storyteller, our problem solver, our keeper of knowledge, and most of all, our family. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for making things happen. Thank you for teaching us what true and honest friendship looks like. And thank you for leaving such big footprints for all of us to follow. We will miss you more than words can say, but we will carry you with us in the stories we tell, in the food we make, in the traditions we continue, and the phone calls we remember to make, and every time we show up for our people. We love you, and we always will.
Thank you for sharing that. I'd now like to call upon the grandkids, who I understand have prepared a tribute.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jelena, one of Eleanor's granddaughters, and I'm going to try my hardest to make it through this speech and pay tribute to our beautiful grandma on behalf of all the grandchildren. Grandma Ellie was a one-of-a-kind woman, and we're so grateful to have had her in our lives and been lucky enough to call her our grandma. She had a selflessness and determination that was unmatched, something we will all aspire to come close to. She was not only our grandma, she was our teacher, cheerleader, arts and crafts instructor, our own Michelin star chef, who kept everyone's preferences in mind. Our nurse, tailor, driving instructor, and sometimes even a referee. She was a safe space for all of us, always available to give a warm hug, a piece of advice, or sometimes just a sympathetic ear. It always seemed like Grandma must have had more hours in her day than the rest of all of us, with everything she could accomplish in one afternoon. Make dinner for everyone, build a Lego tower on the living room floor with one grandkid, bake cookies with a few others, run parts out to the field, come back and mend a few pairs of pants, fix a few broken toys, then get us all suited up to play outside and have supper ready for when we were done. And even with all this stuff on her plate, she never failed to make each of us feel special and seen. When I think about Grandma, I think about her always being down to help with any project or plan we came up with. You could draw a birthday cake or piñata mock-up on paper, and Grandma would have it done to perfection for your special day. Or approach her with a sewing project and have a dress tailored for you, or the pair of pants you brought to her 4 sizes too big somehow shrunk down to your size overnight. And obviously, with Grandma being a teacher, she would always be more than willing to help us with homework or last-minute school projects. Grandma was even game to take an unplanned scenic detour with me on the way home from Vancouver, which resulted in us driving down a glorified goat trail with no cell service or service stations for about 2.5 hours. Our Grandma had so many admirable qualities, setting an example of what it means to be a great person. She had a heart as big as this room. She was selfless and generous, opening her home to anyone and donating her time not only to us grandkids, but also to her friends and her community. She was incredibly reliable, always doing her best to help out with anything and making it to every event, play, meeting, graduation, and recital. She was the hardest worker I have ever seen, rarely ever giving herself time to rest and managing to do everything while keeping a positive attitude. Grandma put everyone before herself. Even in the hospital, she was worried about how everyone else was doing. She truly was the rising tide that lifts all boats, an irreplaceable presence in our lives. We're so incredibly proud to be her grandchildren and eternally grateful for the example she set for us. We will miss all the stories, the laughs, the hugs, the sleepovers, and the unwavering love and support. On behalf of every grandchild she made feel like the favorite, we love you, Grandma.
Thank you. At this time, we'll call Yvette Barnett forward. She's prepared some musical tributes. It's an honor, Eleanor.
What amazing tributes you have all shared. Ellie was a spectacular human being. And through all the stories that you've shared, one thing is a common denominator. She lived with such grace. Through all the challenges, through all the victories, through all the joy, through all the hardships, she lived her life with grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. I was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel
and grace, my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far. Lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, oh Lord, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, oh, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see.
This next song, I wasn't expecting it, but it's kind of neat sometimes when you sit with the spirit and soul of someone very dear to you, that the messages are pretty clear. And this really, I think, is like Ellie's code of ethics. This is humble and kind.
There's a light that glows by the front door. Don't forget the keys under the mat. When childhood stars shine, always stay humble and kind. Love and forgive, because the Bible says to. Visit family every chance that you can. It won't be wasted time. Always stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you've got your mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. And don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Know the difference between sleeping with someone and sleeping with someone you love. I love you ain't no pickup line, so always stay humble and kind. So hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. We've all got our mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. When it's hot, eat a root beer popsicle. Turn off the AC and roll the windows down. Let that summer sunshine always stay humble and kind. And don't take for granted the love this life gives you. When you get where you're going, don't forget to turn back around and help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind. This next song is one that I also sang at Lynn's service. And it's one that just really depicts their lives and the continuation of not just their lives, but their farm and their families and their friends. This is called Why I Farm. He knows every stone that's been struck by the plow. There's a pile by the barn, by the sweat of his brow. The land has his heart and he rarely complains, yet he holds his knees when he prays for rain. He's a dusty old car, he's a light in the barn. He'll work the late hours and he's up before dawn. Every man has a story and the story lives on. From a granddad's eyes into a newborn child. Why farm is in my blood, like the sun that's on my skin. It's who I'm meant to be. It's who I've always been. It's more than just a living. It's our way of life, and it grows like seed inside my heart. That's why I farm. We always pull through when we thought we would break. In the flood 93, in the drought 88. The Lord has his timing, 'cause only he knows that when next year comes, the crops will grow. Our Father's in my blood, like the sun that's on my skin. It's who I'm meant to be. Oh, it's who I've always been. It's more than just a living. It's our way of life, and it grows like seed inside my heart. That's why I fight. That's why I fight. And though the world may change around me, still I'm stable. As long as I am able, I'll work this plan. 'Cause when heaven comes this close to earth, you hold it. 'Cause life is but a moment of a bigger plan. Why I farmers in my blood, like the sun that's on my skin. It's who I'm meant to be. Oh, it's who I've always been. It's more than just a living. It's our way of life, and it grows like seed inside my heart, living on long after I depart. That's why we farm. That's why we farm.
Thank you for that, Yvette. Wow. I'm going to ask Shannon to dim the lights and draw your attention to the screen behind me to a video presentation prepared for Jelena, and I'm sure all the grandkids had some input at some point, and the rest of the family. So please enjoy. I'll move the podium here.
My little boy came into the kitchen this evening while I was fixing supper, and he handed me a piece of paper he'd been writing on. And after wiping my hands on my apron, I read it, and this is what it said. For mowing the yard, $5. Making my own bed this week, $1. And going to the store, 50 cents. And watching little brother while you went shopping, 25 cents. For taking out the trash, $1. Getting a good report card, $5. And raking the leaves, $2. Total owed, $14.75. Well, I stood there looking at him expecting, and 1,000 memories flashed through my mind. So I picked up the pen and, turning the paper over, this is what I wrote. For the 9 months I carried you, growing inside me, no charge. For the nights I sat up with you, doctored you, prayed for you, no charge. For the time and the tears and the cost through the years, there's no charge. When you add it all up, the full cost of my love is no charge. For the nights filled with dread and the worry ahead, no charge. For advice and the knowledge and the cost of your college, no charge. For the toys, food and clothes, and for wiping your nose, there's no charge, son. When you add it all up, the full cost of my love is no charge. Well, when he finished reading, he had great big old tears in his eyes. And he looked up at me and he said, Mama, I sure do love you. Then he took the pen and in great big letters he wrote, paid in full. When you add it all up, the full cost of my love is no charge.
She'll take you in, feed your friends. Her open arms are welcoming. She'll rub your back all night when you're crying. She'll listen to you tell your story, hold your fear and all your worries, help you find the truth when they're all lies. Even when it's hopeless, she keeps trying. She's your mother, you love her, there won't be another place like her again you call home. She stands here to help you, there's nothing she won't do. As long as she's alive, you're not alone. You've got each other. That's your mother. She fixes all the broken things. When you're in love, she's got a ring to give to you. She hopes you give away. She don't care who you give it to, where they're from, if they pray like you. As long as they are good to you, that's enough. First thing she taught you was love is love. She's your mother, you love her, there won't be another place like her again that you call home. She stands here to help you, there's nothing she won't do. As long as she's alive, you're not alone. You've got each other. And that's your mother. When you fail her, when you're afraid, and crying in the careless mess you've made, she'll make you clean it up yourself and offer you a little help and dry your weary eyes when you let her. But she'll look at you and know you can do better. She's your mother, you love her, there won't be another place like her again that you call home. She stands here to help you, there's nothing she won't do. As long as she's alive, you're not alone. The secrets in your heart, she's always known. She's a beacon, a harbor, a lighthouse, her armor, a promise and a blanket when it's colder. You'll understand it more when you get older. You've got each other. That's your mother. You've got each other. That's your mother.
Bye, Mom. That's what I said at 5 years old, the first day of school. Already then I thought I was way too cool. I thought I had it figured out, and I didn't know a thing. Bye, Mom. Don't worry about me, I'll see you at 3 at the bus stop. And I know that you'll be right there to pick me up in the old truck. And oh, that's just the way it is when you think you're grown, but you're still a kid. And you don't know you're somebody that somebody loves more than themselves. And there's a beauty in the innocence of not knowing that the time they spend is more than one could ask for. And that's a special kind of love, and it's only there for a lifetime, then it's gone. And it's bye, Mom. You can drop me off down the block around the corner square. my buddies are waiting for me just over there. I'll see you later on. Bye, Mom. It's a cap and a gown in a brand new town 8 hours away. Don't cry, I'll be okay. And oh, that's just the way it is when you think you're grown, but you're still a kid, and you don't know you're somebody.
Now if she falls off that chair, it's not
I go through shots. I like the taste, so I like the cigar.
Throughout Ellie's life, it was clear to see teaching was a big part of who she was. And as we heard today, not all of her lessons happened in a classroom. She taught by example. She taught people to show up, to work hard, to make room for one more at the table and take care of the people around them. And maybe there is one more lesson for us today, although this is one she probably never intended to teach. It is how we learn to carry on when someone who has always been there suddenly isn't. Grief is a strange teacher. None of us learn its lessons quite in the same way. For some, the tears come easily. For others, they don't come at all. Some of you will want to tell the same stories over and over again, while others find comfort in simply listening. There will be laughter today, and there may be even moments in the weeks ahead where you forget for a second that Ellie is gone. Then something small. A craving for supper at the farm, a phone call you expect to receive or instinctively think to make. A familiar place or an ordinary memory will bring the reality of it all back again, and there's no timetable for any of that. One thing is certain, the depth of our grief is often a reflection of the depth of our love. If we loved hard, or were loved hard, we grieve hard. Simple as that. The person became part of who we are, and that just doesn't simply disappear when they're gone. And what I've learned about grief is that it changes because the relationship changes. We no longer get to have that person physically beside us, so we begin to find different ways to carry them with us. And Ellie's family gave us so many examples of what that might look like. It might be making the recipe she always made. It might be making the phone call she would have remembered to make. Showing up at graduation, speed skating, heifer lotto raffle, you know what I mean. The ball game, the hockey game, the drama production, Christmas concert, whatever it might be. Welcoming someone new to the community. I know she certainly did that to me. Making room for one more around the table, or simply noticing someone who needs to know that they matter. Those things won't replace Ellie, and they aren't supposed to. But they allow the things she taught you to continue. Perhaps that is one of the greatest legacies as a teacher can leave behind. Eventually, the lesson is no longer theirs to teach, and it becomes ours to live. So as we leave here today, I hope we give ourselves permission to grieve in whatever way we need to, but also permission to laugh, to tell stories, and be grateful for the many years that those stories were possible. Earlier today, we began reflecting on the beautiful song to come, Fields of Gold, and the many seasons that make up a lifetime. Today marks the end of Ellie's season with us, but certainly not the end of what she planted here. What we see in her family, we see that in her family, we see that in her friends, we see that in her students, we see that in her colleagues, we see that in this community. And we see it every time someone who learned from Ellie chooses to show up for their people. Now that is a lesson worth carrying forward. I'm going to pause now and ask Lainey to come up as she has prepared some thank yous. And Art and Al and Christine.
On behalf of all of our family, we cannot begin to tell you how much it means to all of us seeing family and friends from near and far come together and celebrate our precious Ellie. Our community, our family, friends, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you to all of the Vermilion Healthcare Center staff, Dr. Yusuf, and all of Ellie's incredible nurses, many of whom she knew. Her wonderful nurses would take time to visit her and check on her, even if she wasn't their patient that day. The love and care that they showed to Ellie meant the world to her and to all of us. Thank you to all you beautiful people who took the time to come and visit Eleanor at home or in the hospital, who called or sent messages or flowers. She was rarely without company, and she appreciated it so much. She was a great friend to many, and that was reciprocated. Ellie had very many special friends. And since her passing, we wish to thank everyone who has reached out to us in one way or another, delivering food or flowers. We are so grateful for the support. Our dear friend Yvette Barnett, thank you for singing. It was so important to Ellie that Yvette share her angelic voice with all of you. And to Eleanor's beloved nieces, Terry and Twyla, thank you so much for writing and sharing that beautiful tribute to Ellie. We're also so grateful for our family, Cody and Stephanie Maz with Maz Entertainment, for providing our sound system. We appreciate it so much. And when the call went out to help clean the arena floor, the turnout was incredible. We couldn't believe it, and we knew Eleanor would have loved it. And the same goes for the fantastic crew that came to set things up last night, and those that will help take everything down. We all just kept thinking how much Ellie would have loved this. And it sure makes us proud and honored to be part of this wonderful community, and grateful for the family and friends that came from near and far to help. A huge thank you to the Dewberry Hall Society and the Dewberry School for providing chairs, and the Dewberry Egg Society for all the work they've done to help us. And Holly Holman, thank you for those special, thoughtful touches. We would like to extend a huge thank you to the Green Lawn ladies for their work preparing and providing a delicious lunch, and our friends at the OB Colony for the wonderful buns. Thank you to all the grandkids for all the help the last number of days, and to Taylor and Jelena for collecting all those photos, and for Jelena creating the slideshow. And finally, thank you so much to Tyson Lancaster and the lovely team from Reflections Funeral Services. Tyson is a dear friend of our family, and it would be impossible to thank him enough for the empathy, the care, and the guidance during one of the most difficult times of our lives. We are eternally grateful for you, Tyson, and thank you to all the Reflections team. And thank you to all of you for caring, loving, and celebrating our dear Ellie with us today.
I do have one short story before we go. Each time I would phone Eleanor to sub, our conversation would end the same way. I would thank her for agreeing to sub on such short notice, or the night before, or early on in the morning at 6:30 in the morning phone call. And she would very steadfastly reply every single time, "Very good, see you then." So Ellie, very good, we'll see you again. Would the congregation please rise?
You remember me when the west wind moves among the fields of barley. You can tell the sun in his jealous sky when we walked in fields of gold. So she took her love for to gaze a while among the fields of barley. In his arms she fell as her hair came down among fields ago. Will you stay with me? Will you be my love among the fields of barley? And you can tell the sun in his jealous sky when we walked in fields of gold. I never made promises lightly, and there have been some that I've broken, but I swear in the days still left, we'll walk in fields of gold. We'll walk in fields of gold.